Hi, everybody. It's Michelle Hill, your legacy builder at Winning Proof, and I am here with another Winning Proof Unscripted. And I want to tell everybody, if you liked this video, like and subscribe to the channel, and that would really make me super happy. Today, I have one of my teammates for Winning Proof's Teammate Appreciation Month, which is now going to be every July because I'm in business 15 years as of this month. So I'm super, super excited to welcome Polly Letofsky. And she is oh my gosh, she does so many things. I am going to let her introduce herself and tell you all about herself. So hi, Polly.
Well, thanks, Michelle. Yes, my name is Polly Letofsky, and I am founder of My Word Publishing. And what we do is similar to what you do with your services at Winning Proof. And that is that we take an author's project and we just sort of drive the project, essentially doing everything a publisher does, but we maintain no rights of ownership whatsoever. And so we do that. We also do like a la carte stuff. What if someone says, I just want this done? Okay, we can do that. And then we also do marketing consultations. And I'm very careful to say what that is because we do not do your marketing for you. You'd be a fool to do that, but we'll talk more about that. But we have created a marketing consultation where together over the course of 3 one-hour sessions, we draft your specific, unique marketing plan, and then you go implement. So that's a little bit about us and then how we're related and how we're not related. So
yeah, absolutely. And I know we intersect, and I just want to address that for viewers is because oh, you have competition on. No, none of us are competition for each other. There's plenty of work for everybody, and we all approach projects differently, and we all do it a little bit differently. So you know what? Chill.
I have other relationships like that too. And they're like, so wait a minute, aren't you doing the same thing, but you're working together? I'm like, yeah, what don't you understand? It's women in business.
It's okay, everybody. It's okay.
Yeah, right.
So how do you, I know let's talk about Larry Long Jr., one of my clients that I sent to you, and he wanted to create his own publishing platform because he has other books and multiple books that he wants to do. So how do you help authors if they say, okay, I have 5 books that I really kind of have an idea that I want to write. I want to set up my own publishing platform. What is that? And how can you guide an author through that? Because that's not something I do. It's something you do and do it very well.
Yeah, thanks. It might help to back up and explain how I got in this situation. And that is that I wrote a memoir and it took 6 years to write. Well, first of all, a lifetime to live it, then 6 years to write it. And then I passed my manuscript to a crooked publisher. And of course, I learned all these horrible, painful, expensive, even dangerous lessons, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
and you've heard that story a million times. That happens to all of us, unfortunately. And then one of the lessons that I learned is whoever owns that ISBN, your book's identification number, 13-digit number on a book, and whoever owns that owns the sales and distribution rights. Now, everyone had always talked to me about copyrights. You got to own your copyrights. Be sure to keep your copyrights. I'm like, all right, already. I'll keep my copyrights. And I asked this publisher can I keep my copyrights? She's like, yeah, sure. I was like, well, that's a little easy. What no one ever mentioned was all the other rights you should maintain, and that's sales rights, distribution rights, and foreign rights, and digital rights. There is actually a right that is in most publishing contracts, like sign on with a small independent press or a big publisher. That means we own the rights to anything that may be invented in the future.
Yes.
So for example, 20 years ago, it would have been audiobook rights. Nobody knew to ask for audiobook rights, but whatever this right is that claims that they own those rights, even when you don't know it at this particular moment. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so when that finally blew up, that relationship, I signed on and realized I was in a hotbed of trouble and started learning more and more and watching other people get into that same situation,
Yeah.
So I finally said, somebody has got to set up a system where the authors maintain their rights. And so eventually, making a long story short, I started My Word Publishing. And so we do, again, everything a publisher does, but we don't maintain the ownership. So how do we do that? We help them start their own publishing entity. It's like any family business, you know what I mean? You put all your works through that. So if you wanted to do a children's book, if you wanted to do a business book and then a workbook, but it's not for you to publish other people's books. I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, legally, but then it's the same problem that I have. I don't want anyone to own any of your rights. So so that's how we set it up. We just help them set it up, and it usually can be a simple sole proprietorship with, you go on to your Secretary of State in whatever state you are and buy a business name. And I know in Colorado it takes 5 minutes and $20, but some states aren't as business friendly. And now I know what that means to be a business friendly state. It might take months, let's say in California, to set up. Should you set up as an LLC? And so we talk to people about that, but it's pretty simple to do. And again, in Colorado, you got 5 minutes, give me $20, right? To purchase, essentially register that trade name. I'm not saying trademark, I'm saying trade name. Mm-hmm. And then what happens? Then you go buy your ISBN. And then that ISBN is owned by that publishing company, your publishing company. You see what I mean? Therefore, then you own your sales and distribution rights. So that is a big move that we make for our authors. So to date, we've probably published 850 books, and that means, that many publishing companies. Wow. So, so we help you figure out how you want to run your business, and then we help you figure it out, get a logo, and buy the domain. So if you want White Swan Press, then you first have to see if it's available, okay? Or has someone else bought White Swan Press? So then we get the domain and we get you registered on your state, and now you have a company, and you put all your works through there, and you go open your bank account under said White Swan Press. You see what I mean? So that's how we do it. And therefore our authors maintain all their rights. You won't see our name, My Word Publishing, on any of our books. Yeah. Well, I guess mine. And not my marketing book, I guess, is the only book that has My Word Publishing on it. So
yeah, and that makes sense. And I've seen, how you work with my clients, and I always, Larry Long Jr. was such a joy to work with, that, and I got to be in on a couple of the meetings, and just, it was just a magic to see how the process worked. Let me see, how can I word this? Do you fire clients on occasion because they are just incorrigible, or you don't want to work with them? Or have you had to do that in your journey?
We've come close a few times. I'll tell you that we have a clause in our contract that says either party can break the agreement. We don't have a contract, and this is my definition of that anyway. A contract is something you can't get out of, right? So that was another thing with the publishing contracts. They're a one-way street, like a marriage. You sign on and there's no exit date, right? And I didn't like that. So when I started My Word Publishing, I thought, I swear to God, I did this. It's that at Panera's, hey, you got a pen I could borrow? Great. And grab a napkin right on the back. What are the things that people hate about publishing companies and that relationship and what they do, don't do, etc.? And I'll do the opposite, right? I'm just, I don't know, living in la la land. But I really stuck to it. People hate contracts and can't get out of it. I'm like, why would I want someone to stay with me if they don't like me, they don't like our service, whatever? So you can get out of it, yeah, and there's a penalty to it. Okay, penalty usually meaning, money to a degree, but that's even staggered. If you work with us for 6 months, you don't get 100% of your money back. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, equally, yeah, I have worked on frontline service jobs enough that I know how people can be. And I was like, oh no, I'm not putting up with this little bullying crap you got going on. So I put that in our contract.
Yeah.
So if you become abusive with anyone on our team, doesn't have to be me, then you're out. So, and we tell them that from day one. So we're setting the tone right away, right?
Yes.
I don't mean to sound like a badass, but it's been fabulous. So out of 850, I'd say 2 times there was a situation where the author was really getting abusive. And do you know, both times it was because they had PTSD and their family members had reached out saying, I'm so sorry about what's going on. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I feel for you, but we'll have to then work with you to finish it up, because I don't care what the reason,
Yes.
doesn't even matter. But if you're going to be abusive, then no go Joe. So both times we figured it out and got it done and everything. And frankly, both of those people have become our biggest fans because we didn't give up on it. But legally, yeah, we could get out of it because
Yes.
no, you don't get to blame. You know, I remember I was working in hotels and people would throw stuff at you at the front desk. They would throw phones and
What?
yeah, they would throw stuff at the front desk people. And I'm like, huh, no deal. And you can't blacklist them. So even if you kicked them out of your hotel or called the police, you can't call all the other hotels in town and say, you know, this person could be dangerous. So yeah, I put that in the agreement and we stated up front.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I hope is the wave of the future, which to a degree I think is, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I explained, we are a team now together. Just because you signed on and gave us money does not allow you to become abusive. Fair enough, and threatening.
Without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And this, the customer is always right mantra we have in America, I think has led to a lot of bullying.
Yeah. I used to embrace that. And I don't anymore because they're not always right. But you always treat the client, the customer with respect and dignity. But you have to do that. We as business owners have to embrace that as well. You will treat me with respect and dignity, or we have to part ways, and it might cost you a cent or two or more.
Yeah, and again, we try to work that out and set the expectations up front and work with them, because doing a book is one of those situations where it's almost like a wedding in a way. Hear me out. But that's right. It's one of the greatest milestones of your life, but it can also be very stressful, right? And that's what I mean by getting married and publishing a book. Okay, on the same group there, but it can be stressful.
It is.
And so to a degree, we're a therapist as well.
Yes.
If you want to do a good book, though, you know, you're going to have to go through some self-awareness and,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and those editors too. The editors are almost therapists.
Mhm.
Like, I need you to go deeper here. I need you to dig deep.
Yes, absolutely.
They're
You have to, and writing a book is very cathartic, where you have to and I think this even applies to business books, business where you're sharing your stories as examples. It's, you know, it's not a memoir, but it's sharing of yourself, and you have to go through stuff on the journey. And I tell people, writing a book is not for the faint-hearted. That's why everybody in the whole world does not have a book, is because it is a journey. If you want a top quality book, anybody can throw together a pile of pages and call it a book. But you and I are not in that business of throwing together a pile of pages. Our work ethic is such that it's going to be top notch. It's going to be the best, because that's our brand, even though our logo isn't there. It represents our work as well. You know.
Yeah. So yeah, part of being a publishing coach is being the therapist, the expectation setter, and
yes.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. Yes. So before I move on, tell me about your designation as Colorado Businesswoman of the Year, because I'm just so proud of you for that. How did that transpire?
Well, there is a group of Colorado business women, and you know, we'd get together once a month, and then they just have a vote at the end of the year, and they have a big celebration for you and big luncheon, and it was quite an honor, because I think I had been in business 2 years at that point. So
Wow.
I've now been in business for 10 years. And yeah, so these are women that know what they're doing, and they're highly regarded, and they voted that for me. So thank you for noticing. Yeah, I was tickled about that.
Oh, yeah, I
Can I
notice it
can I
every
tell you
time.
something? Look at, see this little guy right here?
Yes, yes.
This
Show us.
This one we just got recently, and this was a submission into the US Congressional Record. And it was for, so this is, we are being recognized as women who soar, because of their efforts to support authors and self-publish their work. And that My Word Publishing has disrupted the publishing world by helping authors professionally self-publish their books while maintaining 100% of their rights. So yeah, that was very exciting. And this
Yeah, yes, I didn't know about that one. So thank you for sharing that one. And just how does that, I mean, this is such a psyche question, but how does that make you feel to get two awards? Ooh.
Well, Barbara Walters,
Yeah.
it is passing, meaning again, big luncheon, and they honored, I think there were 3 of us statewide, and the other 2 women were so amazing. And then they called me up, and I'm just like, I was proud. But you take these moments of celebration, and then you're back to work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, so you can stop and be proud of yourself for an hour over lunch, and enjoy that and take the photos, and then you're back to work. So I frankly have to remind myself of this. It's a very big honor, and not to be taken lightly. And you realize that sometimes, these days we all kind of work alone in our little silos of our home offices, even though all day I'm talking to people. But your head's down, and you're going, and you get your goals in mind, and you aim for them, and you sort of forget that there's an outside world. And
sometimes
to get out and see people and say, hey, you kind of look up and go, oh, look what I've done the past 10 years. So
exactly.
Yeah.
You can get very narrowed in your just head down to the grindstone, work and business, and then you step away, and it's like, oh, people are still living, people are still moving around, and maybe I've been missing some stuff. Then you take a day or maybe a moment and just breathe and go out and have some fun and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, you have some fabulous marketing programs, and I think in my experience, the biggest gap between authors and they expect their book to fly off the proverbial Amazon shelf and are often disappointed when they don't, which they won't. And so you need to be proactive in marketing and promotion, and tell viewers about your marketing programs. Like you said, you don't market for them, but you empower them. So share the programs that you have.
Yeah, I want to start with a little bit of history on how that happened. The one mistake I didn't make in my initial publishing journey was that I thought anyone was going to market my book for me, even if I got a deal at HarperCollins. I knew they were not going to market my book for me. So it must have been the first paragraph of the first book I ever read about self-publishing. Or publishing at all, okay? Because there is not a publishing company in the world that will do your marketing for you. They just don't. That's what you and your agent are working on. The proposal, that is your marketing plan. And it's that marketing plan / proposal that the agent then goes pitches to the publishers, right? And they are investing in you. That's what they're doing. These publishers are investing in you, so they have to make sure you have a platform and you will tend to the marketing and everything else.
And
so I know
people about traditional publishers,
right, but even small publishers, and people say to me all the time, well, my publisher didn't do anything to market my book, and I'm thinking, well, I guarantee you they didn't say they would. So
exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people say, well, J.K. Rowling isn't out there marketing her own book. And I'm like, oh, yes, she is. And that's why she's getting the big bucks, because she has such a platform.
Yes.
It's a guaranteed win for that investment that the publisher is making.
Yes.
Guaranteed. So yeah, they're going to put some money into it because they know she has a platform and she'll do the marketing. So there's that. Anyway, so I knew no one was going to do any marketing for me when my book came out now 12 years ago. So I did a deep dive into it. And I started keeping track of things I was doing just on a bullet pointed Word document, right?
Yep.
And what was working, what wasn't. And I would buy all the marketing books, and literally 1,000 pages, just a monster.
Yes.
And you open it up to any page and it would be a block of content that's so overwhelming. Guarantee you, never read anything. It was so overwhelming.
Yes, I have a couple of those.
It's too much.
It's
so
terrifying.
When eventually I started my word publishing, then I felt sort of bad, even though sure, you're not responsible for marketing, but you feel bad just sending an author out there. It's like naked into the,
Yes.
Netherlands, just go. And
Yeah.
so I started sharing this lovely bullet pointed Word document with them. And this Word document started evolving. Not only services started to evolve, right? Because services are changing every day, all day.
Yes.
But now I started putting timelines and putting them in categories and all the rest of it. And eventually I started a book called Buzz, right? Buzz, you're a super sticky book marketing plan. And if you can look at the difference, right? So it's big and fat and colorful and roomy, because I remember those books that were just big blocks of content and overwhelming. So I really tried to keep it easy to read, even though it looks almost juvenile. It's so easy to read, and
That's
big and
beautiful.
colorful, right? So this, I'm just releasing the 4th version actually any second. So there it is. This is the 3rd version, because they are changing things so much, right? So we would give that book to people, our authors, and they were still overwhelmed. Okay, let's review the book with you. Over 2 sessions, still overwhelmed. So what I did, frankly, out of frustration, but now it's turned into be the best thing I've ever done. I started to create this this Excel spreadsheet, which is a book marketing plan, and it's broken up into 4 parts.
Yep.
And now it follows Buzz, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And part 1 is just set your foundation, basic stuff, right? Get your payment options ready so you can sell a book anywhere, frankly.
Yes.
Get your bios and get your keywords and your categories and your hashtags and get those all ready. Set your foundation.
Yes.
And then part 2 is build your platform. How do you start to build your platform? That's what that is. And different ways to start building your platform. Part 3 is prepare to launch. A lot of things you got to prepare for. And then part 4 is you're off and running. You've had your book launch party and off you go. What do you do the first year? It used to be that a book had a 2-year shelf life. But now with the onset of all the, internet and opportunities, my book's been out 12 years. It's selling like it always has from the 2nd year on. So a book has a much broader lifespan now. So
okay, and you have to put energy into that. You have a book, like you could have done some marketing the first year and then forgot about it, but you still have to get it out there in front of people, correct? Because I think some authors say, okay, well, my launch is done. I've tried for a month and it's just not selling. You need a long game, correct?
Oh gosh, thank you. In my new Buzz 4, I try to be straight with people, because I am not one of those Hail Mary pass kind of girls. Send your book to Oprah. Oh, good Lord. If I hear that one more time, that's just so unrealistic. I just don't do a Hail Mary pass. So when people say, I want to sell thousands of books every month. Okay, well, you better have a big platform to do that, because it's not the norm. I try to shoot straight from the hip and all the rest of it, right? So in this new version of Buzz, I started with my very first pages, set your expectations, be realistic. So it's a book marketing pep talk. That's what it is, because we have to set expectations. Otherwise, people get so frustrated, they throw their arms up, cry uncle, they don't go back to it. All the time I get this.
Yep.
And I just got an email from a potential client. They've not signed on with us.
Mhm.
And they're like, well, I'm looking at some of your business books and they only have like 30, 40 reviews. And why is that? Okay, that could be a number of things. First of all, business books, generally speaking,
Mhm.
don't rely on Amazon for sales,
Mhm.
the onesie-twosie sales. Business books are relying on speaking engagements, then selling in bulk, right?
Yes.
Or workshops and selling in bulk.
Yes.
They do consulting work, selling in bulk. Our best sellers, if you were to look on Amazon, it doesn't look like they've sold many books. That's not how they're marketing their book. That's on Amazon,
Yes.
but that's not how they're doing it. So first of all, that's one reason. Secondly, a lot of people just don't market their books. They get frustrated, and it is the biggest hole in our industry. And it's something I think about, I swear to God, I
Yes.
think about it every day. I wish to God there was a yellow brick road. You're starting here, here's your goal, here's exactly what you do. It doesn't work like that, and I've tried, and people get frustrated,
Yeah.
and they don't see the results. You don't see results in real time a lot, okay? There are some tactics that you will see the results in real time, but generally not. So they get frustrated and throw their arms up. And I am a firm believer in the ripple, the trickle. And you do everything, you say yes to everything for X amount of time. And then let those ripples do what they must. And then you can start focusing on sort of the proven effects,
Yes.
So that's kind of how here's an example of that. I did a podcast in 2015. That's a long time ago, right? I did a podcast about my book. Okay, I don't know if we've ever talked about my book, my memoir. There it is. I walked around the world. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm the first woman to walk around the world, and I do this book. So this was a podcast done about traveling and the walk and everything, 2015. And 7 years later, I started getting all these emails about, oh, I heard you on X podcast. And would you be on our podcast? And then I think I got 5 emails like in 3 days. I'm like, what? That was in 2015. Why are people commenting on that? So I look it up, and the guy who does the podcast, which has grown his podcast to enormous numbers in those 7-8 years.
Yeah.
And he decided to go on vacation and just stuck up some old podcasts, the archived podcasts, he stuck them up. So this is what I mean by the ripple. You
Yeah.
don't know what's going on in the background. So let those ripples just start working for you. I tell people, you say yes to everything for like the first 6 months. You just say yes, yes, yes. Then you can start seeing what's worked and what hasn't, and then concentrate on those. But in the meantime, these ripples are going to start working for you.
Yes.
And it happened. I got a million stories like that. So you don't see what's going on. You get frustrated and throw your arms up. I see it, girl, all the time. So now I have to give that expectation. I have to give that tough love conversation from the beginning. In fact, when I first meet with someone about their publishing consultation,
Yes.
I start with that. We're going to have a tough love conversation. You ready to hear it?
Yes. Yeah.
It's just the reality. Don't like, oh, I want to get on Oprah. That's not a marketing plan. Okay.
No. Oh, it's one of the first things I say too, is you're not going to get rich from your book. You're not J.K. Rowling. I don't say it exactly like that. You're not John Patterson or whatever the big, novel authors are, but it's how you leverage that book. It's that ripple. It's how you're utilizing it that will create the ripples that they need. But you constantly have to, work at it and look for opportunities. And a lot of times it's not a lot of effort, but it's consistent effort.
Thank you. Yes, that consistent effort, and that's part of our tough love conversation too. So the first thing I recommend that people do is commit to an amount of time per week. So let's say it's 3 hours a week. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 9 a.m., you're going to get up and you're going to spend 1 hour doing your marketing. Okay. And you will have put these tasks into that calendar.
Yep.
So you can sit down and just go, okay, calendar, what am I doing? Got it, on it. Okay, search for podcasts, go to this site and search for podcasts and submit. Okay, that's what I'm going to do on Monday from 8 to 9. And then there's follow up to that. But the time commitment and the consistency, the perseverance, you just stay with it. And it's very hard to do when you don't see those results in real time. There are things that you do see results in real time, and that would be author ads, whether it be Facebook ads or Amazon ads. You can see it in real time. Yeah. And then you can, manipulate that ad and those numbers and those clicks and payments in real time. Yeah. But most marketing things we don't see in real time. You can see your social media hits and shares and stuff like that in real time too, but
yeah, exactly. And what do you think I want to ask you about your bestseller Power Boost bestseller campaign.
Oh, sure.
Because I have utilized that twice, and I send a lot of clients. I refer, a lot of clients now. They come to you. It takes time by the time they sift through what I help them with, and they get to you. So
right,
they're coming. But what was I going to ask? I'm losing my train of thought today because
Power Boost,
like my thing, the Power Boost. But I wanted to ask you, okay, what is the biggest mistake you see first-time authors making when they come to you?
You mean for publishing overall, or marketing, or?
Yeah, for publishing. What's the biggest mistake you see them make? Is there one mistake that you see consistently? I can tell you have the stories, don't you?
I do. Okay, what is very painful is when they say, I don't need editing, my mother edited it.
Yes,
or, your friend edited it. Because what we as a sort of a layman society know editing to be is with the teacher and the red pen, and that is the proof edit, which is the final edit. Okay, so there has to be, and depending on your goals, though, I need to be clear about that structural developmental edit, and I try to explain what that is. Now, you're primarily dealing with business books, and they don't need as much, there's not character development and plot development, but there is organization, right?
Yes, structure. Yeah.
So let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, there's a fiction author. Mm-hmm. And they've never written a book before, but they've had their mother edit it. And that's very painful, because now they're going to spend all this money on a book that I guarantee you, I haven't seen the manuscript, doesn't even matter. No first-time writer will not need a development edit. That's, so it's yes. The development structural edit, especially for fiction, is about paralleling plot lines and character mm-hmm. development, and how they all blend together. And so a good fiction's developmental editor will look at it and say, they're professional story builders is what they are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they might say something like, do we really need this character? It does not bring anything to the plot. Can we just get rid of them? As an example, they might say, let's start with chapter 4. Let's move chapter 4 to chapter 1. And let's bring this character in earlier. And big structure. They don't give two hoots about the commas and periods at this point. They're worried about structural stuff, right? Yeah. And even Ernest Hemingway needed a developmental editor, and always famously said that he just hates that first round of editing, right? So, but the good writers always use, it's like the doctor saying you don't operate on yourself,
Yes, and I've seen a lot of the compilation books, the people submit their different stories, and they're horrific. It's like none of the stories were edited and they just compile the whole thing and they're riddled with errors. And it's just, oh my gosh, that just grieves my heart to see that, because again, that's your brand represented there, whoever is publishing it. And it just, don't have Aunt Bessie, who was your third grade teacher in English, just get a professional.
I once dealt with this author, this poor guy. He'd written a book, and here was his reasoning. He said, well, I wrote this book and I didn't really have it edited or anything. I just thought I'd see if it sold at all, and then I would back up and get it professionally edited. I'm like, wow, that is so backwards. You cannot take a book off Amazon. Okay, you can unpublish, but the book is still sitting there. Okay,
Yeah.
Same cover and everything. I mean, the cover was just awful. So his frame of mind was, I'll just slapdash it out there. And then once it makes a lot of money, I'll come back and then professionally edit it. Well, what happened is there were so many bad reviews. And the thing is, these reviews said, this is really good information, but he really should have gotten an editor. And almost all the reviews said that. So now he couldn't just go back and get it edited and put it up under the same title, because it has all those reviews attached to it. So he came to me to redo it. We had to retitle it and everything because he didn't want those reviews with his book. So it's, you can't get rid of reviews. You can't get rid of reviews. So Amazon states that, no, they're not going to take down reviews unless it was a direct attack against the author. So if they say, Polly, you're fat and ugly and we hate your guts, well, they'd probably take that down. But if they say, we did not like your book because blah, 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 they ain't going to take it down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
I did have one review taken down because the review was
terrible.
The book was sticky. They had gotten it from sticky. I think the book was sticky. So they had gotten it from one of those used places on Amazon that probably had some kid with sticky hands. I thought it was so funny that he gave it a 1 because the book was sticky. And so I left it up there.
That's good.
Comedy. And then eventually I thought, well, it really is dragging down my number here. So I asked if they'd take it down. They said, yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so they'll take stuff down, but just because, if someone comments about bad editing or they didn't like the book, you're stuck with that for a lifetime. So you do not want to take that shortcut like this guy did. That was painful. That was painful because he obviously had great information. Yeah.
It is painful to see that. And I've gotten books that people have sent me, and they're so painful to read because they haven't been edited, or I don't think poorly edited, not even edited. I can't wait to get them out of my house. Like, I can't have this in my sphere at all because it makes me mad and sick and headache or something.
Sometimes I do have to stop myself and just think their goals are not the same as my goals, because my goal would be to have every book be as great as it can be. Okay.
Yes.
But of course that costs money too. So I'm like, I have to get a grip on myself and say, okay, wait a minute. What are your goals? If it's just for the family, we can skip a development edit. I'm not going to put someone through because it's painful. It's expensive. It's a long process.
Sure.
I'm not going to put someone through that. But what we get a lot is, what are your goals? And the goal is to be the best book ever. And I want to be on Oprah and take over the world and be king of the universe. Okay, great. Well, I don't have any money. Okay, well, that doesn't match up, because you got to if you want a professional book, you got to get professionals involved. And, unfortunately that takes money.
Yes.
So sometimes the goals don't match up, and I have got to always get my head around that. And at the end of the day, they can do what they want because we're not the publisher. Publisher meaning the person who invests in producing your book. So we help produce the book, but our name isn't on it. You see what I mean? So if they want, now there's caveats to that too. The caveat is we'll do what you want. You want to name this book, you know, Who's He, What's It, Bubkus. It's like, okay, I'm your advisor, so I'm going to advise against that. But if you want to, you can. But if there is a legality, like I want to put the whole lyrics of, you know, Michael Jackson's song in here, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, you don't.
Can't do that.
And they insist on it, then, you know, we're out.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Because
can't.
that's going to bite us in the ass, of course.
Exactly. No, and then you can't do that. Not even a line from a song.
Not even a line. Yeah. So when we tell them that up front too, so it really has not been a problem. But yeah, we recently had an author come to us and he put this whole book together of like a puzzle of chunks of content from the internet and Wikipedia, and just plagiarized the whole thing. And we're like, and you could tell because I asked my consultant, my colleague, I was like, how did you know it was plagiarized? And they're like, because when you read it, it jumps voice to voice to voice, and it's just changing all the time. So something was up. So yeah.
Yes.
He's like, well, you can't do that? No, you can't do that, sweetie.
That brings up an excellent question, which I wasn't planning on asking, but that's a perfect segue into it, is how is Chat GPT changing the writing world as far as, you know, plagiarizing? Is it plagiarizing? Because a couple of authors are suing Chat GPT, but I know it gives people a good foundation that they can work with. How do you see that changing? Do you think people will actually use it to write their books and just, okay, here, I wrote a book?
Well, slapdash people will. You know, we're keeping our eye on it because there really aren't any laws right now, but of course you can see those coming.
Yeah.
We have said that you can use it as a tool. Okay, a tool. Here's an example. Hey, Chat GPT, give me 10 titles for a book about blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that is a good starting point for a brainstorm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then of course you go onto Amazon and you look all over to see if there's that title yet, but it's a good, we consider it like a starting point.
Yes.
And other examples of how you can use it as a tool and a starting point are for things like your back blurb. Okay.
Yes.
Your promotional product description on Amazon and your back blurb piece on the back cover. Or a headline for your back cover. Things like that, and you would sculpt it from there, so it's a starting point.
Yes, I love your term, sculpt it from there, but I think people are just copying and paste it like, oh, this sounds great. Okay, but you have to massage it. You have to, and I found Chat GPT loves the word indelible. It's like in almost everything it does is indelible.
Is that right? Oh,
I really like that word.
Okay, I'll watch for indelible. And so if someone sends me an email and it has that word, I'll go, you've been using Chat GPT?
Exactly, yes, it loves that word. So let's turn a corner and talk about bestseller status on Amazon. I have used that service with you a couple times. It's been awesome. You know, my cousin and I that wrote the 2 children's books are so proud of that designation. So just describe how someone can benefit, what it is, how someone can benefit from having a bestseller status.
Yeah, and let me explain that. First of all, Amazon has 3 definitions of bestseller, okay? One is the #1 book overall. 7.5 million books on Amazon, you're #1. Yay, that's not what we're talking about. And one is the top 100 in any category. Well, I don't consider that a bestseller, but yeah, sure. That's their definition. And then there's #1 in a category, and that's what we're after. Secondly, our campaign, you'll see we do not use the word bestseller in our campaign. We call it a Power Boost campaign. Why? Because we have never, ever, ever not hit #1 bestseller in multiple categories when doing our campaign. So why wouldn't we call it a bestseller campaign? Because it's not the objective. Okay, so there are many objectives, which I'll talk about in a second, but the way that the Amazon algorithms work is when you hit number one, when you hit the top 10, they start working more on your behalf. And I should say this is anecdotal, it's evidential, because
Sure.
we'll never know the algorithms of Amazon. Can you imagine if they let those
True.
out?
True.
You know, so so that's why we aim to hit number one, is just for the strategy of it, not so much the bragging rights. Okay, but you know, that's kind of fun too. So
Yeah, it is. It is.
and I hope I'm not raining on your parade,
Oh,
but
no, with Joy and I, we just wanted, we call it a gold star. We just
Okay.
wanted our gold star. That's all. We just wanted to be a bestseller, and that was our motivation. But that's, you know, that was total. That was our own goal
yeah,
of that. So go
I'll
ahead. I'm
tell you
sorry.
that so the Amazon bestseller is not a scam, but it is a game, and you got to know how to play the game. And it's a
Yes.
strategy. We call it a strategy. That's why we don't use even the term in our
Yes.
service. We call it an Amazon Power Boost campaign. And so here's how this happened, because I I want to say I started it. The Power Boost is mine. Sure, okay, I'll give myself that. But all the pieces were always there. No one put them together though. So I equate it like you're sitting around the campfire and I'm the one over here watching. Hey, that guy's got a graham cracker, and that guy's got a Hershey bar, and that guy's got a marshmallow. And I'm over here going, hey, why don't I put all these three together? Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I did with the Power Boost. So
Yeah.
so what we do, the three pieces of the Power Boost then are, first we have to optimize your Amazon page, because Amazon's a big search engine. So we've got to entirely optimize it. And I got to tell you, I am not that techie, right? I ain't that tech girl, but I nerded out on this, how to optimize an Amazon page. And then I taught it to all of our consultants, and then I've been honing it ever since. And as Amazon changes, we have to get up to date on things. But I nerded out on this years ago. And so that's the first thing we do with an author. How do you optimize an Amazon page? Well, you got to get the proper keywords, not just keywords, proper keywords. What are people looking for on Amazon? And you can figure that out. What are people looking for? And are they buying from that keyword? So we can analyze whether someone, a lot of people are looking for it, but nobody buys it. Well, what good is that then? So we have to go in and analyze, because they offer us 7 keywords. And when I say keywords, I mean like a phrase too. It can be 2, 3, 4, 5 words. What are people putting in the search bar in the hopes that your book pops up? That's what we're hoping for. So we do the keywords and the categories. And then there's a lot of other tools that Amazon has added now too, that we can thoroughly, through the Amazon Author Central program. So we just want to make it as easy to find and looking as sharp as possible. So formatting is part of that. Maybe putting up your Kindle A+ graphic on your Amazon sales page now. Yeah. So that's the first thing, is we optimize your campaign, or optimize your Amazon sales page. And then what we want to do is give away. Yes, you're paying to give your ebook away for free. Yes. People don't get it. Wait a minute, back it up. What? I'm paying to give my ebook away for free. Yes, you are. Yeah. But so we're doing that, and we're trying to get in front of your bullseye target demographic. So I tell people, I don't want you marketing this at all. You don't do nothing. You don't do nothing. You don't talk about it. You don't have mom go buy it. You don't have your friends and family go buy it. Friends and family are your first level of marketing. They should have already gone and bought your book at full price. So this is not marketed to them, and you do not tell anybody about it, right? So that's the second thing, is we organize you to go give your ebook away for free. We usually do 3, 4, or 5 days. Okay. Usually 5 these days. So we get that all organized. So this is an ebook campaign. And then what we do is there are sort of subscription databases. You can go purchase a subscription list, a database, and get it in front of those people for a day. Now, usually these subscription services will only allow 1 day. So we have to buy one list one day, another list another day, another list another day, etc.
Mhm.
And some of those lists are hundreds of thousands of people that have said, yes, I like books like this. So you're getting in front of people that, say, in your case, love children's books of that age group. Okay.
Yeah.
There is a new service too that is just for business books. So let me just toss that out there. Okay.
Toss it out there,
Toss it out. Yes. So,
please.
so they have collected a database of 76,000 people that like business books, and we get in front of that database and offer them this free ebook. And so it arrives in their email inbox.
Yeah.
They'll go, yeah, I want that. Click, goes to Amazon, and they can download it. Okay.
Yes.
So you get a lot. The objectives are multiple. One is that you're hitting a new audience. So if your first level of marketing is your friends and family,
Mhm.
okay, that's the first people you go to. The book's full price.
Yeah.
And the second level of marketing is, you know, a few weeks later, and it's the 6 degrees of separation, really. All the friends and family, they should be talking about it and getting it out to the next sort of generation of separation, right? By putting it on social media and talking about it and introducing it to book clubs and whatever, okay?
Yes.
And then the third level of marketing is everyone else in the world that could be served very well by your message, your book and information, but you don't know them. How do you have access to them? And
Yeah.
this is one of those campaigns to get in front of new people, a bullseye demographic, not your mother, okay? Not to, God bless your mother, but you know, she ain't your target demographic. So that's actually, we discovered that's actually screwing with the Amazon algorithms. So the old campaign, the old bestseller campaign, was just to get as many people as you can to buy your book on 1 day. You rise to the rankings, yay. But that was doing more harm than good, because what it's doing then is training Amazon to get in front of these people, and those weren't the right people. That's your friends and family, and they've never bought a business book in their whole damn life, right? And now Amazon is going to be sending them business books, and in the meantime, also they're sending your book to people like them that has
Yes.
this demographic on. Oh, okay, so people that like, you know, Dr. Seuss, like might like this business book because that's who's buying it. You're getting in
Yes.
front of the wrong people, and you're training Amazon wrong. So this Power Boost campaign, the reason I don't want the author to tell anyone about it, because we are letting those databases do the work.
Yes.
See what I mean? So
Yes.
they are getting in front of the right demographic, training Amazon as to who we want to get in front of.
Mhm.
And if your mother happens to see it and downloads it, then no harm. If it's one person, there's no harm done, but we don't market it to her. So then one of the other reasons, of course, is you're gaining a new audience, you're gaining a new fan base. Because if you've written your book well and you're getting in front of those people and they love the book, it's great information, they start talking about it, don't they?
Yes.
And they leave reviews on Amazon. So then your algorithm with Amazon goes up. That's why we call it an Amazon Power Boost. Do you see what I mean? So we are going to hit #1 in many categories. Our record is 16 #1s,
Mhm.
but we don't call it a bestseller campaign.
Yeah, and
Not
you
the
know, I
objective.
have done that.
Yeah.
When I offer it to my clients, or I have additional services, I'm gonna have to change that, honestly, because I have Power Boost bestseller campaign, and I'm gonna have to take out that word and then just put it in a
If it works for you, girl, I can explain it to them. So
Yeah, you
that's
can
what you
explain
do.
it to them and just, but I want them to know, but I have to take out that bestseller, because I know that you're like, don't say bestseller, but you end up being bestseller in multiple categories, but that's not the goal, the overall goal of the campaign. So thank you. That's a good reminder to me. When I am back home, I will do that.
I didn't mean to bitch slap you. I was power blasting you. No. If that's like a
Because you've said
hit
that many
#1.
times. You've said that, and I'm just like, yeah, it's a Power Boost bestseller campaign. I'm just like, okay, I've got to change that. So I will. You've heard it all. Everybody that's watching this, you have heard it.
If someone, can I say something to your wider audience? If anyone ever offers to get you to #1 on Amazon for like $5,000, $10,000, just run for your life, okay? And I mean #1 overall, it's not worth it, to stop it, okay? There are much better ways to optimize what you're doing on Amazon and using it properly than spending 10 grand to hit #1. I've seen that before, it makes me crazy. It makes me crazy.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And it
just say
doesn't
no.
do, I mean, that's a great bragging right, but it's not going to sell more books. And I
It's
think
not.
that's where authors get confused, is that they think it's going to sell more books if they have that. It's great to have, but yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot. And by the way, I'm going to tell you on here that Joy and I have we won 2 awards a couple weeks ago. So
Nice,
we won
congratulations.
for best illustration for a Silly Soggy Day, which was our first one, and then we won the Firebird Award for best children's animal books. So whoop whoop.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And it really was a delightful little book. So man,
Oh, well,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. I just had to blast that out.
Okay.
Because that was another gold star, and Joy and I want our gold stars. And that's what the Power Boost campaign did for us. It gave us the gold star that we wanted, and all that. So I have one final question for you, besides asking you, to tell people how to connect with you, but what have the top 2 things maybe that you have learned about yourself throughout your business journey?
Gosh, that's a great question. This comes from, it sounds humble, but it's not. It's just the reality, is that I've surrounded myself with great people, and I always naturally assume that they're smarter than me, so I let them run with their ideas. And frankly, that served me really well. So, it's like, oh, well, go ahead and give that a shot. Yeah, all right. So it's almost a leadership style to trust that people have good ideas that you might not even see. You got to keep your eyes open. But boy, I thought it was a weak spot for the longest time, and it turns out, no, I think it's serving me well to assume that people are a lot smarter than me.
Yes.
So
that's awesome. Okay. Can you?
Yeah. And also regarding other people, I think because my word publishing took off from the minute it was formed. In fact, before it was formed, true story, it was about a month in, I'm like, I don't even have a name for my business. I was just running. And I was like, shoot, I got to back up and get a name. And maybe, I remember thinking, a brochure. Okay. I was like, no. Okay, it's 2012. I don't need a brochure. I need a website. I mean, but that's how much it took off from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think what made it take off was power partners. Let's say like yourself. Thank you. But seriously, getting the right people involved, and it does have to be the right people.
Yeah. And that's intentional. That's an intentional move to surround yourself and to distance yourself from non-power partners or partners that are disempowering. You have to intentionally exit them and bring in people who are gonna. And I love the quote that, and I don't know exactly who said it, but it says, don't spend time with people who tolerate you. Instead, spend time with people who celebrate you. And I think we need to do that, like you're saying, in surrounding yourself.
Yeah, and that means business coaches, obviously writing coaches, editors, cover designers, and the right ones. And that doesn't mean that they're just good at what they do, but there's got to be more than that. Because we hired this one gal who's supposed to, she's won all these awards for editing. And boy, she did not have a bedside manner. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't this is a vulnerable part of someone's life to put a book out, and we need some bedside manner. We need communication and also good at what they do.
Yes.
So it's not just looking for the people that are the best at what they do, but these other elements just have to be included.
Yes.
And I think I chose those people really well from the beginning. And we have such a stunningly tight team. And My Word Publishing has only one employee, and that's me. But we have 40 editors and 5 cover designers and layout designers and
Yes.
index people. And we're a stunningly tight team and a machine that just rolls really well. I've often said, this is funny, but I'm from Minnesota, you know? So the Mayo Clinic is there. And if you don't know what the Mayo Clinic really is and what makes them special, it's because the doctors almost form a group, a team approach. It's not just this doctor and send them off to another doctor and you know, it's not that. It's this whole team comes in and does a sort of, you know, powerhouse conversation. Could it be this? Could it be that? Let's check this. And as a team, they work on it. So probably a very bad explanation as to what the Mayo Clinic is. But then I said, well, that's what we do all the time, every day.
Yeah.
It's because we don't do packages. Everything is custom designed in our publishing projects. So that means every project is different. So we're all calling each other. Can we jump on and talk about what we could do for this person who wants this and that and the other thing?
Yes.
And you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
yes.
we're like the Mayo Clinic of the publishing world is really where I'm going with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think the same thing. And I don't have the amount of, like, say, cover designers, you know, but it's like I had one in the past that 3 of my clients came to me and said, he's not returning my calls and he's kind of contrary and he's this and that. When 3 clients come to me, wildly talented, but I don't use them anymore because I'm not going to have my clients come back to me and say, I had a negative experience or he kind of got attitudey. No, I want someone who is going to, with that bedside manner, that's going to treat my clients like gold, like I treat them, you know, and I'm very fussy about that because for me, it's all about experience, the experience my clients have when they work with me, you know, and I want them to have a positive experience with all of my teammates too. And I know they do with you. And I know now I have a cohesive team where it's a really positive experience, but sometimes you have to distance yourself from the ones that don't have that bedside manner.
Yeah, and that makes it so tough on you. I am going to take the word attitudey and add that to my dictionary. That's a great one.
We make up words all the time. We can because we're kind of wordsmiths.
Yeah, you figure Shakespeare made up every 10th word, so he can do it.
So can we.
And you came up with attitudey.
Attitudey.
No, thank you. You know, I hover over your clients and I appreciate your service and just your values. So I really wanted to tell you that.
Yo, thank you. I feel the same way. It's awesome. You know, I look forward to sending clients to you. So last question, how can people connect with you if they want to find out more about their book marketing, about the Power Boost campaign? Well, they can never do that again. I'm just like, it's going to be a joke between us now. But
you can, I swear. I didn't mean to scare you. My Word Publishing, mywordpublishing.com, but also amazonpowerboost.com. And yeah, so I got all the domains in the world, but mywordpublishing.com explains everything. So and you can talk to me if you want. We'll have some fun.
Absolutely. And I will put all these. Did you send me the links?
I will.
Okay, yeah, please send me those links and I will include those, everybody. I will include those in the show notes. And so you'll have all of Polly's information. But Polly, I'm so thankful you spent time today and you're so informative. And I know you're awesome to work with and you are so like knowledgeable about the industry. And, you know, it's just, I consider you I have one lady, I said, you're the Yoda, you're my Yoda, but you are also a Yoda because you're so knowledgeable about the industry. And I really appreciate you. I love how you treat my clients and I'm very thankful.
Thank you so much. Really, such a joy to work with you. Pleasure.
Yeah, same here. Well, I will since I am working off of my laptop today, everybody knows that now. I will stop the recording, and I just want to say, if you want to contact me, you can contact me through my website, winningproof.com, or you can email me at winningproof@gmail.com, and I am on all the social media, especially LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, all those platforms. So anyway, until next time, have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching another episode of Winning Proof Unscripted.